Today, I want to give you the complete blueprint for effective YouTube thumbnails that grab attention on people's home feeds, win the click, and ultimately end up with longer watch time, better retention, so that YouTube then pushes you out across the network with far more virality. But crucially, having played around with AI and manual processes, now I found a happy medium thanks to ChatGPT's latest image update. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this hybrid of using ChatGPT, but still with a few important changes from Canva. Now, before we go any further, for a long time, I've been selling my popular YouTube Millionaire Mastery book, but now I'm giving it away for free. I realized that with the value I can give with this system, I was charging $7 for it, but frankly, I'd much rather just help you out and give it away for free. And no AI has actually touched this book. This was all handwritten when I was on holiday about a year ago, but all the information is up to date. So to give you an idea of what's inside, this is very long and detailed, lots of personal stories from my journey on YouTube, everything from my technical setup, my processes, through to how I've shaped my overall business around my YouTube channel. So click the link below and you can download this all for free.
My AI generated YouTube thumbnails used to be famous. Loads of people in the industry, the podcast guests, were always coming back to me saying, I love your thumbnails. They're really good fun. They're really impactful. But eventually I stopped doing them, and I'll explain why in a minute. So previously, the way I was creating these was I had a custom GPT created where from various YouTube experts, I'd basically listen to all the best practices from thumbnails, which are really quite simple. It basically comes down to, obviously you want that shocked expression. It's a bit cheesy, a bit cliche that every thumbnail has to have that shocked reaction. But it's all about heuristics, that idea of that instinctive desire. On YouTube, you're fighting for attention, fighting for the click. And as humans, we're much more likely to react to another human who's showing some kind of shock or warning. So that's number one. But also you want to make that really prominent. Loads of new YouTubers I see, or smaller YouTubers, they'll typically have almost like a full-length portrait as their thumbnail, and you can barely see the face. Whereas what you want to do is make the face massive. Now, I explained all this in my talk at the Saigon SEO Mastery Summit. So we want that face to be massive. Don't even be afraid to cut off the top and bottom of the face, because it's all about the actual countenance, the actual expression. Then you want some kind of graphical element, maybe a graph, maybe an arrow, something that just sparks curiosity and gives a hint about what's actually in the video. And then you want a knowledge gap. Knowledge gaps are so powerful in all of marketing, but especially with that kind of quick gut feeling you need with YouTube. So one of my favorite examples of this is obviously Hormozy, great marketer in many ways, but these thumbnails are a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We've got a very large face and it's creating those knowledge gaps. So we can see this tier list where we've got this missing piece. And then in terms of graphical elements, obviously Stripe numbers, Stripe logo, that looks good. The before and after with lots of cash, that works very nicely. Each of these is creating that tension, that knowledge gap. So we've got large face, but also that hinting at a missing piece. And remember, you don't just want to replicate what's already in the title. Those people will put their title here and then put that in the thumbnail. You're not utilizing your real estate that way because you're just repeating yourself. This is a new asset. So you've already got the title. You might as well use the asset differently to spark something else. So the real reason you're not making as much money as you want, then having killed new ideas, again, it's curiosity. It gives you that hint, that first step, and you want to carry on and learn more. So this is kind of why I moved away from the custom YouTube engine. If I just go and grab a video now, we can see how that performs today, because these are much more the thumbnails I've been building lately. As you can see, we've got the phone screen with a nice amount of money on it. I deliberately went for an interesting backdrop of the result I was doing in Vietnam, and I'm just highlighting the key elements of the book, 3K a month. This site just exploded, and it's been up and down since. So what I used to do, my old method, was I would come down here, and YouTube's got a really useful function where it will show you your transcript. And I would just copy all of that, Control-C, head over to my YouTube engine, and this will give me not just the thumbnail, but also title ideas and a description, including chapters, which are good for YouTube rankings. And now, like I say, I've not used this in a while, so not too sure how this is going to go now. Maybe the latest ChatGPT updates are actually pretty good. So let's have a go. It's giving us the overall brief right now. So we'll try out the old way, and then I'm going to explain to you why I started switching to manual thumbnails. And then I'll show you my new method of thumbnails that combines AI with manual work. So we've got our brief there. Give me a thumbnail. Now I'm a bit hopeful this time, because remember, if we go back to what it was like before, it was quite repetitive. They looked good, but they weren't really fulfilling everything I needed. So canvas marketing, that's a pretty good one, but it's not really using those graphical elements, not really creating that knowledge gap. It's not as impactful as I'd like it to be. Now, at the time, I didn't really mind that because I was just going for volume and speed. I was doing a video per day. But these days, I'm much more about doing 2 to 3 videos per week and just maxing out the reach I can get with that video. So less about speed, more about quality, and ticking off all of those criteria. So we can see here, this is pretty much the same format I was getting before. So it's pretty good. It's not bad. We haven't got the right YouTube aspect ratio either. It's a square on rectangle. So that's pretty annoying. And that is also something else that got in the way. So as you can see, by using this tool, I'll leave a link to this below so you can use it. But you can see you're basically getting the same sort of results every time. Whereas what I'm now doing instead, now that ChatGPT's latest image update is so good, I've created an AI clone of myself. So what did I do here? I uploaded a lot of training data. I think the limit was something like 11 photographs. So I basically took a lot of the images I'd already taken for previous thumbnails. And you'll notice a lot of YouTubers do this. They'll have a few headshots and they just use them over and over again. A lot of thumbnail designers will even take that face and just paste it onto a different torso so that maybe in one video you're looking like a lawyer, in another video you're looking like a builder. So most of us have a few of these headshots lying around. If you don't already, then just fire up your webcam and just take a load of those. A lot of these literally just took on my MacBook, and they're actually pretty good thumbnails. And then I said, make me an AI clone for YouTube thumbnails. Now this has worked pretty well. It's not a perfect resemblance, but it's definitely good enough. And now remember what I said about the suspense, the curiosity, the heuristics, and to confirm, I'm still not convinced that the full thumbnail idea is a good idea anymore. Because I gave it a full transcript here saying, put that face in a thumbnail, and you can see it just didn't work. This is a perfectly good thumbnail. The text is largely accurate now, and generally it works quite well, but it's not got me anymore. We overloaded it. It's too many conditions for it to try and fulfill. So try as I might, if I try and do a full thumbnail, I end up clean shaven and with a haircut, which is not my brand. And in fact, it did take a bit of almost backtracking to try and get ChatGPT to forget about this new creation and say, no, I want to go back to what we were generating before. But now it's going quite well. But you see, it's kind of losing my resemblance. So again, I gave them the images again and just said, remember what I look like. And then it was working really well. So here we go, remembering that criteria, large shocked face, graphical element, knowledge gap, creating that tension. So I said, give me another shocked expression for YouTube. We want to spark curiosity with pointing, reactions, etc., creating a knowledge gap. And then it was working perfectly. So these are much more fulfilling that criteria we talked about. But your gut base instinct here is what's wrong, what's happening, and what is he pointing at? What do I need to be aware of? And I just said, repeat, try and make clearly different variations. So now, like I say, it's a manual process. I'm just going to copy that, go over to Canva, and this is how I've been manually creating my thumbnails for a while now, so that I can do that manual creation of, I want certain graphical elements, I want the large face, things that the AI just wasn't quite getting right. But you can see the bottleneck here was I was just reusing the same images over and over again, which isn't terrible, but it's also not ideal. Whereas now I can paste in my AI clone, we make that face really big. Remember, don't be afraid to even cut off parts of the face. That, and now we remove the background. Today, my video has been about creating AI info products, basically to create an ascension funnel. So do a simple video recording, turn it into a $7 ebook, run ads to that, have a load of upsells. And then from that, you can pay for your ad spend, build a big list of verified buyers, and then upsell to much higher ticket offers. So to make the thumbnail work, I'm going to try out just taking a bit of the landing page I created with AI and then paste that into the background. This actually doesn't need to be that big. I found having any sort of graphical elements or screen shares, you can keep them smaller because that sparks more curiosity. So I'll send that backwards. And then generally, I'm just going to take some text to, again, just to try and create some more curiosity. If I put in something like instant product, make that size 100. And yeah, I'm not sure I like having all this text at the landing page. So let's just crop that down to the book itself. Make sure he's pointing at the actual book. I try to keep everything towards the sort of top left of the thumbnail because down here is where you get all the YouTube stuff in the actual thumbnail. So you can see that here, the timestamps, and that's nice and big. In fact, we've taken out the background of that one, I think, unless the shadow is going to get in the way. Yeah, that's not working, never mind. Again, text doesn't actually have to be that big. And to make it to really stand out, I'll typically actually put a black outline on it. I'll make it a bit thicker. I like to include a few red arrows, something like that one. Make it red, flip horizontal. a bit bigger. Let's put this text at an angle just to make it a bit more jarring. Okay, it's not perfect, but I think it'll do. For backgrounds, I do actually quite like using things like blueprint background. I find that works quite well. So do that one, make it nice and big. And then you just do position backward, backward, backward. Still going to tidy this up a little bit. I think it will take out that background, but generally you get the idea. Instant AI clone. It's not a perfect resemblance to me, but it absolutely does the job. And that means every one of my videos can now have a unique thumbnail rather than using the same face over and over again. And one little tip, I've done side-by-side comparisons using YouTube's A/B testing, and it does seem to be true. Have you ever noticed how a lot of YouTubers, the face tends to be almost glows, tends to be quite pale, quite contrasty. And I don't actually know how they do that, but my workaround has always been to go to adjust, clarity, and then just whack up the clarity like that. It makes the image much punchier. Less aesthetic, it doesn't make me look better. But in terms of getting the click, this does seem to actually perform better. And you can do that to pretty much every image you actually use. So image, adjust, clarity, and then right up to 11.
Now, just a little bonus before you go. Of course, this video now needs a thumbnail. I need a thumbnail for my video on YouTube thumbnails. So as we know, trying to actually combine our AI clone with the thumbnail we want doesn't seem to work. So I did an interview yesterday, and it was difficult enough trying to get both myself and Christopher into the same thumbnail. So I ended up duplicating him. And eventually we got somewhere near where we wanted, and then this was the one I ultimately went for, so not too bad. But now coming back for today's video, I've been trying to iterate a bit better, thinking with that whole tier list and these graphical elements, maybe ChatGPT is actually able to build me more of the full thumbnail, and then I can just add in my clone separately. So it's not been great so far. It immediately just went and actually did what would have been a really good thumbnail for the interview yesterday, but not a good thumbnail for my current video. But it looks like we're nearly there now. I just said, just give me a rectangular screenshot of the YouTube homepage with one video thumbnail highlighted as a powerful secret to going viral. Now, you've probably noticed ChatGPT images have got extremely slow now. It seemed like the first day it was great, and then everyone woke up and realized what was going on. So it is a lot slower now and it gets stuck, in which case I wait for it just to say image created, and then I refresh the page, and then it seems to work. Okay, here we go. That's pretty interesting actually. It's gone for a very close resemblance. It's basically just copied the Hormozy thumbnails that were there before. And then it's put Christopher, my interviewer, in our special thumbnail here. But, oh well, I'll take it. So we're going to copy image. What I basically want to do here is break down the Canva process to just simply background with graphical elements and then slap my AI clone on it. So this isn't too far off. So if we do just position backward, and then with the clone we want to make that massive, we want to remove the background. In this case, we need to flip it horizontally. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Still make the face a bit bigger. So we're going extreme here. This is actually quite a nice overall image with the hand and the shirt and everything, but let's practice what I preach. We've only got a little bit of the finger showing, maybe slightly smaller. That's it. So we've got an idea of the pointing. We've got this other random finger here, which doesn't really do much, but oh well. And again, clarity. Right up to 11. Okay, I'm largely happy with that. I think I will. The yellow isn't very punchy, so I'm just going to change that to a red box. I've done this wrong. We want a transparent box with a red outline, and then should just be able to overlay that over the top. And then I'll just send it backwards once, so I'm not cutting my finger off. And I think that'll do. I think I've said this before. I don't bother downloading the full image. I just do a quick screenshot, so then we're good to go.